It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo Parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science Potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you and welcome to the Science Bowl. Today, two outstanding middle schools here to play our game, one of whom could be going on to become the last of our 4 semifinalists in this year's middle school competition. Let's meet the teams. First from Greenbelt Middle, would you please say hello to Noah Strauss-Riggs, Chloe Mshana, and Michael Wang. And from Thomas Pullen Performing Arts School, say hello please to Clayton Felder, Sean Shackelford, and Kyrie Angel Humphreys. And now here are the categories of questions we use on the Science Bowl.
Okay, Mr. Z, here's today's categories. Green things, questions about plants and all things green and growing. Zoo Parade, a Noah's Ark of questions about animals. Body systems, we'll see how much you know about yourself, about things like breathing and growing and digesting your food. Let's get physical. Questions that test your knowledge of physics and chemistry, earth science and space science. Then there's Science Potpourri. Here's a grab bag of science questions, everything from air pollution to the kitchen sink. And finally, Dateline Science. We'll ask you about science history and science in the news.
And here on the Science Bowl, we arrange our game board according to question difficulty, with the easier questions on the left. They're worth 5 and 10 points. The tougher ones, 15, 20, and ultimately 25, the toughest of them all. Both of our teams start out at 50 points, and we deduct no points for incorrect answers. And to the 2 rounds today, one of these 2 talented, good-looking teams will come back to play our game again and perhaps advance to the semifinals. Let's make sure everything works properly before we start. We're going to go to that red team. And Chloe, would you try your buzzer? Looks and sounds A-OK. Good luck to you, to Noah, and to Michael. And Sean, how about the green teams? Looking good and sounding good. Good luck to you, to Kyrie and Clayton. And congratulations, teams, for being selected to represent your schools. You win just by being here today, and we're happy to have you. Let's have a good game. We go alphabetically G before T, so Greenbelt, Chloe, let's play the bowl.
Let's get physical for 15.
Physical for 15 points. Teams, if you drink sparkling water like Pellegrino, you're getting carbon dioxide. Those are the bubbles. But there are minerals in there like Mg and S. What are they, Pullen?
Magnesium and sulfur?
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah, you had that look on your face. Oh my gosh. Good answer. Go. Green.
Zoo Parade for 10.
Zoo Parade for 10 points is a visual question. Look at the monitor in the studio if you would, please. Teams, this beautiful mandarin duck showed up recently in a lake in Central Park in New York City. Its normal habitat is in Asia. But you know, you can't really call this a duck because only females are ducks. A male duck, Greenbelt.
Mallard.
Not a mallard, good try. Thomas Pullen, a male duck, has what same name as the Canadian rapper who has a wonderful album out called Thank Me Later.
Drake.
Drake, yeah, that's right. That's a male duck. Good. Go green. Good try, Mike.
Body systems for 10.
Body systems for 10 points. Teams, this body organ, when full, can hold 18 ounces or 500 milliliters.
Bladder.
Bladder, yes. I didn't even need to get to urine. You knew where I was headed. Go.
Zoo Parade for 15.
Zoo Parade for 15 points. Teams, when male cobras eat other male cobras of the same species in order to maximize their chances for food and mates, it is known as this.
Cannibalism.
Thomas Pullen?
Cannibalism.
I'm
so sorry.
Yeah, make sure we recognize you first. You had rung in first, but just wait till we recognize you. I appreciate your enthusiasm, but just kind of hold it back. Clayton and Kyrie, just hold Sean back a little bit there. Okay, let's turn out the red light here, and then we'll go back to the green team and Sean and choose.
Let's get physical for 5.
Let's get physical for 5 points. Teams, on an old episode of the comedy Friends, when one of them was stung by a jellyfish, the other one put urine on to kind of take away the sting. We don't advocate that, but we do advocate using acetic acid, which is otherwise, Greenbelt.
Vinegar.
Vinegar, yeah. Put that condiment on there. That'll take the sting right away. Good. Go red.
Green things for 10.
Green things for 10 points. Teams, these two green things are often confused. A bush is essentially wild, while this S initialed Greenbelt,
A shrub.
a shrub. Yeah, shrubs and bushes. Shrubs are pruned, but bushes are wild. Good distinction. Go.
Let's get physical for 10.
Physical for 10 points. Teams, any satellite re-entering the Earth's atmosphere risks incineration because of this force. Thomas Pullen.
Gravity.
No. Greenbelt, what force makes any entering satellite coming back into our atmosphere risk incineration?
Air resistance.
Friction against the air molecules. All right, score 65 Greenbelt, 100 Thomas Pullen. Still the last correct answer came from Chloe.
Body systems for 15.
Body system for 15 points. Teams, you know, when the temperature gets very cold, it causes your blood vessels to shrink. Vasoconstriction causes your blood to clot, and it often leads to these cardiac events. Thomas Pullen.
Arrest. Cardiac arrest. Or heart attack.
Say what you want to say.
Heart attack.
That's what I want to hear. Heart attacks it is. Okay, I knew it was in there somewhere. I'm glad you finally enunciated that. Thank you for Clayton and Kyrie for helping out. Go, Sean.
Green things for 5.
Green things for 5 points. Teams, it's been shown that zoo animals like lions like to roll around in leaves that the zookeepers have sprinkled with nutmeg and cinnamon and cloves, a spice known as this. Thomas Pullen.
Pesticide? As a pet insecticide?
No. Clove and nutmeg and cinnamon, they sprinkle that on leaves because the animals like to roll around in it. All those different kinds of things are known as what kind of spice?
Allspice.
Pumpkin spice. Even animals like pumpkin spice, but they can't go to get a latte at Starbucks. Okay, go green.
Zoo parade for 5.
Zoo parade for 5 points. Teams, the world's most famous rodent is 90 years old this year. Greenbelt.
Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse, that's right. Good. Go red.
Science potpourri for 15.
Potpourri for 15 points. Teams, the reason why some coral reefs are dying is because the islands they're next to have too many rats. The rats are killing the seabirds, so the seabirds can't produce any guano, any dung, and that means there's none of this nutrient. Greenbelt.
Um,
What do you want to tell me?
Fertilizer? Nitrogen?
Not quite. What's that?
Nitrogen?
Nitrogen, that's exactly right. That's the fertilizer. Good answer. You pulled that one out of the hat. All right, the buzzer says we've come to the end of the first round. Greenbelt's at 85. Thomas Pullen 115. We got a game going here. Don't you go away. We'll be back in just a moment. And welcome back. Hope you're enjoying this Science Bowl game at home. We're having a great time here. Some of the students you're watching have been here before, in fact, multiple times. Before I ask any more scientific questions, a few personal ones. Let's find out about our players. Let's go first to Greenbelt. And Noah, nice to have you back. How many years is this for you?
This is my 4th year being my 3rd year being on the team competing, but I was an alternate in 5th grade.
Yeah, so Science Bowl has been part of your academic career in many ways. Why do you like the show? Why do you keep coming back?
It's enjoyable to do. The training is always fun.
Yeah.
And it's
just a good experience for you. Tell me what you want to do when you get older.
maybe be like a teacher or a musician of some form.
Yeah, and you told me you play a number of instruments. What do you play?
Violin, piano. I can also play like penny whistle and harmonica, a couple of those instruments.
That's wonderful. Is music talent something in your family?
Yeah.
Yeah? Well, that's just great. What do you do in your spare time if you're not practicing? Because I know you got to practice.
I like watching Doctor Who.
You like to read, too,
yes.
do you not? Yeah, reading.
I enjoy reading. I also like writing stories.
Yeah, you were telling me.
And in extension of that, I also play D&D.
Which is?
Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes, indeed. All right. I'm sure most people know. It's like when you say STEM now. Everybody knows what that means. Thanks for coming back. We always enjoy having you here. Chloe, first time on the show.
Yes.
Good to have you here. How do you know so much about science?
I just have really good teachers, and science is just really interesting because it's always changing. You can always learn more.
Absolutely. And you never finish. It's like going onto the internet. You can never finish it, say, well, I'm done. Always new things coming along. Tell us about your school. Greenbelt, is in Greenbelt, Maryland, and your principal is Miss Valentine, is that correct?
Dr. Valentine.
Dr. Valentine. And who's the sponsor of your team?
Miss Pagunson.
Yes, and she's been working hard. And Miss Pagunson, thank you so much. We'll be bringing you out in just a few moments. And you have a whole lot of alternates here today. Can you give us their first names? And Mike and Noah help her out.
Hannah, Fiona, Maya.
And
Robin.
Yeah.
No.
Ruby.
Ruby.
Yeah.
See, there's so many, they're wondering who's actually out there, but we'll bring them all out with the coach in a few moments here. What's the best thing about Greenbelt Middle School? If you were doing a commercial for Greenbelt Middle, what would you tell people?
Greenbelt Middle School really allows you to pursue whatever interests you have, let it be the creative arts. We have a really good orchestra program, band, choir, and we also have a dance program. And also, if you're more interested into the sciences and math, we have a new biology course, and we also have geometry and algebra and other higher courses.
It's a wonderful commercial. And Chloe, you're so well spoken, and this young lady is on the debate team, and we shouldn't be surprised about that. You have a lot of poise. Tell me about what you want to do when you get older.
I'd like to be a research psychologist because research psychologists get to learn more about the brain and actually conduct experiments on the brain to find out more rather than like clinical psychologists who just work with individual patients.
Wow. That's you've got everything together. You know exactly where you're headed. So it could be a doctor, and Michael, a doctor as well. Psychiatry, right?
Mm-hmm.
How'd you get interested in psychiatry?
I just think it would be pretty fun to just talk to people and then diagnose them while it's happening.
People are infinitely fascinating. That's why they call it people watching. And tell me about yourself. Now, you've been on our show before. How many times?
3 times. Twice I was actually on here, once an alternate. Which
And you played with the Glen Arden Woods elementary team?
Yeah, once, and then...
Well, that's good. You're obviously a good player. Good to have you back. What do you do in your spare time, Mike?
I usually read. I tend to do my homework and do my piano, and then after that there's really not much, but I also do sometimes play D&D with Noah.
Yeah. Well, there are a finite number of hours in the day, and it's not like you're a really disciplined young man and you're doing all the things you're supposed to do. Good to have you back. Thomas Pullen, nice to have you here. Sean, nice to see you back again. When were you here last?
I was here in 5th grade, so...
What school?
Laurel Elementary.
Laurel Elementary, wow. So you're carrying on a good tradition there. Tell me about Thomas Pullen. Where's it located? It's Landover, right?
Yeah.
Landover.
Not
And
far
who's
from
your
here.
who's your principal?
Miss Lucas Adams.
Wonderful. And you have a wonderful gentleman who is your sponsor. Who's he?
Mr. Manning.
That's right. And Roy, thank you for everything you've done and the sponsorship you've given us all these years. He's one of our biggest fans, Sean. You know that.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about Thomas Pullen. Something special. There's always something great going on
It's
over
a
there.
creative performing arts school. So we have a bunch of things. We have media majors. I'm a band major. There's also piano and orchestra and chorus, and Curie is a dance major. So, yeah. There's so many wonderful things. The teachers are just lovely. They're the best. They make your day truly shine.
Wow, another great commercial. I love your enthusiasm, and that's what life is about. Tell me what you want to do someday, Sean.
I want to be a lawyer because I'm really good at debating and talking, but I also want to be a composer because, as I said, I'm a band major. I can play trumpet, I can play the flute. I'm learning piano, and I'm decent on violin.
Wow. So you have a good estimation of where you're strong and where you maybe you want to get a little bit stronger. I like that. I like it a lot. Kyrie, nice to have you here for the first time, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Yes, indeed. Tell us about yourself. Now, Sean just said you're a dancer, yeah?
Yes, I have a dance
Tell us
major.
about what kind of dances you do.
I do modern, and I do jazz.
Yes.
And tap. I love tap.
Yes. And of course, she hasn't told you yet, but she is starring in a production of The Lion King. Yeah?
Yes, sir.
And what's your role?
I'm Pumbaa.
Pumbaa. And
Yes.
that was the
Warthog.
the warthog, that is about to get eaten or thinks it's about to get eaten?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's the famous song?
Hakuna Matata.
There you go. There you go. Nice to have you here today. Clayton, you want to be an engineer someday, yeah?
Yeah.
And he didn't want to brag about himself, but he's a very good math student, too, in addition to a science student. And what do you do in your spare time, Clayton?
I like to play chess, but nobody really likes to play with me, so I just go online.
Because you're that good, right? You beat everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's the problem when you're that good. All right, guys, let's get back into the game. 85 to 115. Pullen is in the lead. Lots of points to give away. And Chloe, please start us out.
Dayline Science for 15.
Dayline Science for 15 points. Teams, in the Jurassic Park movies, all of the dinosaur dung is fresh, but mostly it's in the form of a coprolite. A coprolite is dung that has been what? Greenbelt?
Fossilized.
Fossilized, exactly right. Thank you, Noah, for your help on that one. Go. Red.
Green Things for 15.
Green Things for 15 points. Teams, aspirin, a great pain reliever, was first extracted from the covering of a willow tree. What is the covering of the willow tree called, Greenbelt?
Bark.
The bark, yeah. The bark was the source of that original acetaminophen. Go.
Science Potpourri for 10.
Science Potpourri for 10 points, and we have a tie score. 115 all. Potpourri for 10 points. Teams, the new iPhone 10 says that you can drop it into water for up to 30 minutes and it will still work. It's not waterproof.
Water resistant.
It's water resistant. Absolutely right, Sean. Good. Go.
Dayline Science for 10.
Dateline for 10 points. Teams, comic book readers are sad these days because this man, yes, Greenbelt. Stan Lee, the Incredible Hulk, and Spider-Man, and Black Panther. You got that right. A great loss. All right, tied again, 125. Go, Chloe.
Body Systems for 5.
Body Systems for 5 points. Teams, sometimes kids come onto Science Bowl like you, and you give impulsive answers. It's just off the top of your what?
Head.
Thomas Pullen?
Off the top of your head.
Top of your head. Okay. Again, try to restrain that so we can at least get our camera shot and make sure we give you the proper amount of time. Okay. Go green.
Science Potpourri for 5.
Potpourri for 5 points. All right, teams. There's a wonderful commercial where a man is shown milking a giraffe, and out comes Skittles because the giraffe is eating what visible portion? Chloe?
The
What you got?
The rainbow.
The rainbow. Yeah, the giraffe is munching on the rainbow. I didn't think you got that one. Good. Go red.
Green Things for 20.
Green Things for 20 points. Teams, the Canadian flag has a maple leaf on it, which comes, of course, from a maple tree. But the only country in the world that is named for a tree is the, yes, Thomas Pullen.
What's it called? Country.
What you got? Greenbelt, let me finish for you. The maple leaf on the Canadian flag is from the maple tree, but the only country actually named for a tree in the world is this largest country in South America.
Brazil.
Yes, the Brazil tree that produces the Brazil nut. Yes, indeed. Go red.
Zoo Parade. Dayline Science for 5.
Dayline Science for 5 points. Teams, in the new movie First Man, Neil Armstrong, the astronaut, is shown throwing a bracelet from his late daughter into one of these depressions on the moon. Greenbelt.
A crater.
A crater, yes, good. Go.
Zoo Parade for 20.
Zoo Parade for 20 points is another visual question, and it's a multiple choice question. Teams, in Finding Nemo, this beautiful Moorish idol was one of the stars. It is an example of adaptive radiation, conversion evolution, or descriptive coloration. Yes, Thomas Pullen.
Descriptive coloration.
Coloration, absolutely right. Yes, good. Go. Green.
Body Systems for 20.
Body Systems for 20 points. Teams, peristalsis is the involuntary muscular movement that moves your food through what longest?
Esophagus.
No. Greenbelt. Peristalsis, the involuntary muscular movement that moves food through this longest of your body's organs.
Small intestine.
Small intestine is what I want. Good. Go red.
Let's get physical for 20.
Let's get physical for 20 points. All right, teams, your question is as follows. When atoms join together, they form bonds, either ionically or covalently, depending on whether they share
or valence electrons, whether they share or valence electrons.
Electrons is what I wanted. That's what we wanted to hear. Absolutely right. Share or donate. Good. Go. Red.
Science Potpourri for 20.
Potpourri for 20 points. Teams, it has been found that the best position for solar panels to work most efficiently is at a 90-degree angle to the sun. Another way to describe that 90-degree angle is this.
Perpendicular.
Thomas Pullen.
Perpendicular.
Perpendicular.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. Perpendicular is what I want to hear. Good, go.
You need to restrain myself. Okay. Let's get physical for 25.
Physical for 25, big one in that category. Teams, if you've ever done chromatography, it's the separation of colors. If you put a drop of ink on the bottom of a chromatography strip, which is filter paper, and then put it in a solvent like alcohol, all of the colors will start to move up that paper. That movement has what same name as when animals move from one part of the globe to another.
Migration.
Greenbelt.
Migration.
Migration, yeah, the color migrates up. Good, go.
Zuparade for 25.
Zuparade 25, big one in that category. Teams, nematodes, if you watch SpongeBob SquarePants, they eat everything. But in real life, they are entomopathogenic, meaning they specialize in killing what? Thomas Pullen.
Bacteria, pathogens.
No, good try. Nematodes are entomopathogenic, which means they specialize in killing what?
Bugs or insects.
Insects, that's right. That's the entomo part. Good, go.
Body systems for 25.
Big one in that category. Teams, unfortunately in this country today, all of us have to know how to stop the bleed. So a lot of times we are being taught how to put on and use.
Pass to Noah.
Tourniquet.
Give me more.
How to use a tourniquet to constrict bleeding.
Not quite. You're going to kick yourself. Thomas Pullen, as Noah just said, we are being taught, unfortunately, to stop bleeding by learning how to use a tourniquet. For 25 points, I want you to spell tourniquet. Decide who's going to be your speller and let me know.
Why not?
Okay. Kyrie,
spell.
say the word for me, please.
Tourniquet.
Tourniquet, yes.
Tourniquet.
You had a good, almost. It's Tourniquet. Good try, no points, go red.
Science potpourri for 25.
Potpourri for 25, big one in that category, teams. There are 20 entry points in this country where when people come in, if they have a contagious disease, sometimes they are put into quarantine. Thomas Pullen? What do you want to tell me?
CDC.
No, oh, that would have been that is a good guess. Greenbelt, now it's your turn. For 25 points, spell quarantine.
Q-U-A-R-I. No. And no. Okay, can I pass to Michael?
Indeed.
Q-U-E-R-N-T-I-N-E.
Q-U-A-R-A-N-T-I-N-E. Good try. 3 questions left. Where next, Chloe?
Dayline science for 25.
Dateline Science for 25 points. Teams, it's all in the news. The InSight probe on Mars contains what kind of instrument for measuring Mars quakes? Greenbelt.
A seismograph.
Seismograph or a seismometer? Yes, indeed. Good. Go.
Green things for 25.
Green things for 25 points. If you go to the supermarket's produce section, all the produce that is pesticide-free and antibiotic-free is labeled this.
Organic.
Greenbelt.
Organic.
Organic. Yes. Last question of the game. Dateline for 20 points is as follows. The Hubble Space Telescope could only see visible light, but the new James Webb Telescope can detect these wavelengths that we detect. Greenbelt.
Ultraviolet.
Not ultraviolet. Thomas Pullen, what wavelengths that we detect as heat?
Radiation. No.
Good try. Infrared, not ultraviolet. And that means our game is over. We'll be back with a wrap-up in just a moment. Welcome back. What a game. Even the judges said how exciting it was to watch today because all 6 of our players were at the top of their game. And we are so proud of all of them. Let's give everybody a round of applause. You did a super job here today. Our final tally is Thomas Pullen 170 and Greenbelt 275. Greenbelt, former county champ, a step closer. Noah, Chloe, Michael, congratulations. And look at all the alternates back there. Fiona waved everybody. Maya, Robin, Ruby, Hannah and Miss Pagunson, thank you. What a great team you have here. And let's have another round of applause for the Thomas Pullen team. Clayton, Sean, and Kyrie, you played a great game. Jose, did you know some of those answers? I bet you did. You were yelling them down there in the green room. And Mr. Manning, thank you for all you do and for the wonderful students you always send our way. And thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed being with us today. We'll see you next time on the Science Bowl. I'm Dave Zare. Until then, bye-bye.